How to replace the motor on a Numatic Henry with the code starting DL2. The compatible motor will be number 263, found on high-low switch models. Now make sure your Henry is unplugged from the mains and we're going to lift off his hat. Undo all 7 screws on the underside of his hat with a cross-headed screwdriver. Once you have done this, you can turn his hat the other way again and just lift off the outer shell, then remove the cable rewind, and we're going to put that all to one side. Now this cover here inside covers the switches, might just need helping off with the screwdriver. And then once inside, you're looking for a white wire that goes to the high-low switch. Remove that with some long nose pliers, and then it's got a brown wire joined to it as well. We need to just pull off that brown wire, and then we're just going to leave these 2 wires for the time being. We'll come back to them. Now we need to separate this section from the base. Just ease it up and move your way around it like so. Flip it over again, and then the base can just be wiggled off. You'll know what I mean when you're doing it, and then it just lifts off nice and easy. Once inside, you'll see the motor and then a circuit board here. There's another white wire here that comes from the motor. We need to pull that off the circuit board. Just leave that for the time being again. Remove this rubber ring from the base of the motor. We're going to reuse that on the new motor, so put that safe. Now we can take this outer bit off. You can clean that if you wish. Make sure it's dry before you put it back. And then we have the noise reduction filter, which is a felt pad sitting round the motor. If yours is really dirty, you can clean them, or you can replace them on the link in the description. Now you can lift the motor out and you'll see this topper on the motor, and we're going to reuse that on the new motor too. Okay, so put that safe to one side with the rubber ring that you took off earlier. Now unplug the 2 wires that go to the motor. These can be a bit tricky. Just squeeze them and pull, or you can use your pliers, it's much easier. Now the white wires that are left, we're just going to pull them out, okay? So just remove them from the vacuum cleaner totally. Now we're doing this because the new motor already has the wires connected, and then it has the connections on the end of the wires. But if you remember rightly, we did have a wire that had this piggyback connector on it that went to the high-low switch. We need to put one of those connectors on the end of this wire if you have the illuminated high-low switch, okay? So basically chop off the connector there and then just get a bit of bare wire on the end of the wire, and then we're going to put the piggyback connector on. Just twist that wire a little bit. Now these connectors only come with the motors that you buy from henrybags.co.uk. If you buy them off eBay or anything like that, it might not have this connector with it. Now I'm doing it with these pliers because I know not many people have got a crimper. So when you've done it with the pliers, it should look like this. The end part traps the black insulation and the middle part traps the bare wire. Okay, so now the tricky part's over. We're going to put this part back on top of the new motor. There's 2 circle bits here that correspond to the shapes of the topper there. And then this goes in upside down, so these square bits fit in the little spacers inside the casing there. So lower the motor in now so they fit in place. If they don't, you'd end up with a big gap in your casing. Right, now we need to just thread the wires through. The one with the single connector, that goes through this side, and we're going to connect that back up to the circuit board where you got the white wire from earlier. And the other wire, that's going to thread through the opposite side, the one with the double connector on. We're going to put it onto the high-low switch, but first we need to connect this brown wire that we took off the white wire earlier. Okay, so it looks like that. Use your pliers for this and then just put it back onto the switch. Okay, now just make sure that your circuit board is back in place. We're tucking all the wires in from where they came from, so it will end up looking something like this. Okay, and then inside too, we need to make sure that there's no trap wires. There's actually 2 channels that the motor wires go through, just making sure we're not trapping anything when we put all the housing back on. Put your filter back around the motor like so, then the grill part that fits around the motor goes on next, making sure that that's all flat with no gaps. And then we put your rubber ring on, and then the base of your hat goes on. And we're going to do up the 3 inner screws, so then your motor's totally secure, nothing's moving around. Once you've done that, spin it back over, and we're going to put the switch cover panel back on. It only goes a certain way, you'll see what I mean. And then make sure these little wheels are still in place before you put your cable rewind in. That's what the cable rewind sits on. The cable goes through this little gap here, and then we get the outer shell, lower it on, and we need to trap this cable entry thing here, making sure that there's no gap. If you have a gap there, just turn that cable entry part round and it will shut nice and tight with no gap. Now we simply need to do up the 4 outer screws and flip his hat back over, fit it nice and snug, and it's time to try your new motor. And that is it, your repair is complete, your suction is great again, and your vacuum will last you for years. I do hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to my channel for more Henry help videos. This next one is one that YouTube has chosen for you.